All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Bunny Girl Senpai, Season 1, Episode 11.
Kaida time.
Kaida time.
Yeah.
I am very, very excited about this. Kaida as a character is one of, like, the ones I was, like, waiting for them to get to, like, all throughout, like, the beginning of the show. Now, just, okay, it is time. It is time.
That is wonderful.
In a lot of ways, it's basically the final boss before we probably deal with, Sakuta's issues in general.
Yeah. Very closely tied, probably.
Very closely tied. We got to have a little bit of build up for this by having Sakuta meet with his dad in the previous episode. But Kaida, having been cyberbullied and having the spontaneous cuts appear on her body, feels like the kind of, spiritual problem that's been shown thus far that's the most realistic in terms of how you would physically explain it.
Gotcha.
It doesn't require a lot of thought in order to imagine how that would happen in just real life.
Regular real life without puberty syndrome and all that.
Exactly, No nonsense there. It's very, very understandable in that regard. So, Sakuta, time to be a big bro and protect your little sister.
That's right.
So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. All right. Okay, this was a really sweet and sad episode, but it was very, very wholesome and just,
we are in the Kaida arc.
Good. Yeah, so Kaida being the one that gets the focus here primarily, while also kind of doubling it with Sakuta, is a really cool combo here. Sakuta gets the focus with Mai in the beginning, as Mai deftly handles the tabloids and stuff.
Boyfriend.
Just shut the fuck up, just get out of here.
Yeah.
All right. So, Mai, Sakuta are adorable together. They have overcome many obstacles to be this close, and now here they are.
And it's great.
And it's wonderful.
Yes. It's adorable and wonderful and just all sorts of wholesome.
And Mai is very helpful with regards to things with Kaida, but this was something that she had not been told by Sakuta.
Right.
Now, the tricky thing about this is I kind of understand why. Like, I kind of understand why it's not really important for her to know about it until it becomes relevant.
And it's a very personal, sensitive family
personal and sensitive situation. But the idea that, in general, this is something that maybe Sakuta was like, I don't want any help with this part of it yet. This is something that we've kind of figured a way out to handle this thus far.
Right.
Means that if he hadn't gotten into a relationship with Mai, this might have stayed this way forever.
Definite possibility. Definite possibility.
Just an interesting little sequence of events that kind of makes things a little bit curious is that, she very much needs a specialist, essentially, to have come by the house at some point.
And with puberty syndrome, it's like, what do you do? It's like...
but this is in some ways something that I just have to say, this is something very realistic.
Yeah, you buy that this would happen with a regular person
none
in an
of
extreme
this
enough
feels
situation.
None of this feels spiritual or metaphysical.
It's not like you've got a doppelganger or you've swapped bodies or anything like that. Like, while a specialist might not be able to say puberty syndrome, right? They might not, come to that kind of conclusion.
They could very easily talk her through a lot of this, because one of the things that's going on here right now is that she's basically just disassociated from her past. Right. So anytime things that would come up that would bring her closer to that, she either self-harmed or the puberty syndrome stuff acted up. And
she shut down in some way, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it totally flies, totally makes sense. Now that she's making all these goals and trying to make all this progress, though, one of the things that you got to be worried about is potentially going too far to where she regresses even further.
Sure.
Because she doesn't remember any of that.
And I love that everything is going so smoothly, right? Mm-hmm. There's the whole part of like, hey, going outside, right, and putting the shoes on and taking the breaks and charging up on Onichan energy,
it's
right?
So good.
Like that I love it. It's sweet, and it also communicates the seriousness of the situation, right? Because with something like not being able to go outside, right? Mm-hmm. Without this amount of build up to it, I wouldn't have necessarily, certainly when I first watched it, have been like, oh, this is some big deal. I would have just been like, all right, well, she's doing it in whatever way she feels she has to or whatever. But it's like, no. This is something that is huge for her, the idea of going outside, right?
Yeah.
To the point that Sakata needs to actually trick her so that she goes outside without realizing she's gone outside, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
I love it. It's good stuff.
It is.
And then we get the montage, and it's wonderful. It's
really
great,
sweet.
Right? It's.
I love that it's also coming after the whole arc with my sister, mm-hmm. and then we have just this really
she's able
sweet
to be along
kind of
for
moments
a lot
where
of
it's
those moments.
these double family dates basically.
Exactly.
Yep.
Good
so
stuff.
So good. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, an unexpected variable.
Yeah. Absolutely expected in the fact that she was introduced this episode, so they had to follow up with her, mm-hmm. and she shows up, of course, at the beach, because this beach, everything happens here.
At this beach.
It's ridiculous.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. But she doesn't have any memory of her. And I very much buy that not only does she not have any memory of her, but I feel like that's where most of her fear comes from, is that she knows that she should have memory.
Sure. And so there's this whole idea of like, my world is this apartment. What exists out there, I don't know, but I know that it's scary and that for some reason I wasn't able to handle it.
Yeah, I blocked it out.
Right, exactly. So, going outside and being like, oh, what does it even mean to be outside? Okay, I guess I'm outside. Oh, look behind you. Oh, the ocean, mm-hmm. And it's this wonderful, magical thing.
Yeah, and while I could totally see people saying that it's like, well, you're really assuming that she knows that she's lost the memories. I'm like, no, guys. Why do you think the family split up? Like, why do you think they split up?
Beforehand, it's like,
they were probably trying to help her, and they told her multiple times probably that she forgot all this stuff, and that she just probably rejected all that, and now they're split up, and this is where they are. So, okay, all right. The situation is rather simple.
Yep.
We have the conflict being that Kaida doesn't know what she dealt with, basically. Now, the thing that's wonderful about that is that all the points where she apparently just had cuts manifest themselves on her body and all that stuff, mm-hmm. she probably doesn't even know that ever happened.
Nope.
So in a lot of ways, she's going to be facing it for the first time.
Right.
In this arc here.
Right. She'll actually have like a name for the demon, basically, that has been kind of plaguing her.
Exactly. My Sakuta and company are going to be very helpful here because they've all gone through a bunch of stuff with regards to this. So she's not going to be alone.
Right.
Good stuff there. She's also going to have more understanding people in general than with regards to her parents. Because they know what this kind of stuff could be, theoretically.
And potentially even more understanding than they had back when it first happened.
Yes.
Because Sakuta's dealt with a lot of puberty syndrome stuff since then.
Exactly.
He's been able to talk to Futaba about stuff just whenever.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this was really sweet, really adorable episode. And we have a good structure for where they can address things moving forward.
Yep.
The Makinahara Shoko stuff, though,
felt,
again, very much like the new formula for Bunny Girl Senpai episodes, which is we need to have the future arc foreshadowed a lot more later on we go into the season in the arc that's currently happening. So next arc is going to have Sakuta focus, and I could very much see it being something where this next episode pretty much resolves the Kaida stuff. Like, it very much could.
And then the final episode is the Makinahara Shoko.
And the final stuff is Makinahara Shoko and Sakuta primarily, though, being focused there.
And having this be Kaida's arc is a great way also to just segue into Sakuta's situation because they're siblings.
One degree of separation.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Also, though, I could see this being something where Kaida's thing, she's already kind of won. It's now just the acceptance that that pain and suffering that you went through happened.
Right, kind of holding ground on what she has won.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, one of the scariest things about this, really, is that her world is going to expand even bigger than it has thus far.
Yeah.
And when I say expand, there's this feeling of a lack of equilibrium that I think I can describe
kind of like a head rush,
year.
like when you stand up too quickly.
Yeah,
or,
exactly.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is going to be what she'll feel here. Now, I want to describe this in the essence of something that is actually a recurring nightmare for me.
Oh, damn.
So,
okay. Like still or used to be?
Yeah, it's one I get like once a year, pretty consistently, something like that, where basically you start to have your vision open up and you realize that you're in an infinite space that's lit, so you can see, but there's no end in sight and there's no definable markings of limitations with regards to that.
Gotcha.
But you're floating and you're like, oh, this is wonderful. Mm-hmm. The very next sensation I have every time is that I land on a needle on my foot.
Oh.
But I'm light, I'm floating. But if I ever lose touch with this needle, I will fall endlessly. So I'm balancing on this needle here. Now, what I think she's going to experience in some way is basically that her pain is going to come back and it's going to ground her in something that she does not want to be grounded to.
Okay.
And then she's going to be wanting to do the opposite, which is I want to break free of that.
Sure.
But she's going to cling tightly to everything that she knows in the immediate sense, very much like she's charging up on Onichen power, you know?
Right.
So she's just going to grab Sakuta and be like, don't let go, don't let go, don't let go, don't let go, don't let go. And I very much am excited to see everyone kind of come around her and hold her in that instance. Okay, now...
And then she can see that it's not actually as scary outside as she originally
But then
thought.
she can let out all her feelings, process the pain. She's going to cry.
It's going to sobbing.
And lots of sobbing, lots of processing. And I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, and the whole thing of her needing to deal with the pain and stuff is, I feel like that's got a good connection onto the idea that even before the friend shows up, the bruises are already coming back, right? You know, and so it's that thing of... her situation can't be ignored forever, right? And in a lot of ways, because of like she talks about it, right? She's scared of this going on forever, right? As scared as she is of being outside, she's scared of this continuing, right?
Yeah.
And with the whole idea that through puberty syndrome, you know, it's the cuts and bruises are a manifestation of her own internal thoughts about herself as a result of the cyberbullying, right? In this situation, it's like, oh yeah, the bruising and stuff, that could be something where it's, you know, and this is purely me like, not speculation, I guess, but just, you know, a thought on it, right? Is that because she's getting scared of will this continue forever? Am I just going to be a package deal with Onichen when he gets married? You know, like thinking about if I were in that kind of situation, the kind of things that I would be scared about would be like, what would happen? I know it's okay now, but what if it stops being okay? Because I'm still growing up. So at what point does it become something where I will have needed to have fixed this? At what point, God forbid, what if there's some point where suddenly this person that's been caring for me and been okay with the fact that I'm in this place
stops being okay
with it? What if they start to resent me? You know, like that would be a whole other slew of fears and worries and stuff that would be cropping up.
Because that is a very real thing that happens.
Yeah.
And
so, I love Kaida as a character.
Same.
I love her arc. I love that we're getting it here, and that it is kind of like at the end of the series. Or at least
we do have a movie after.
We do have a movie, and I'm very curious what the movie's about. Because I've heard it's wonderful and amazing. But,
okay.
Yeah.
So Makinohara Shoko called on the phone when she was in the dream of Sakuta's.
Yes.
She had the exact same voice as on the phone.
Gotcha.
So I'm trying to remember when she was shown with the cat. Was she even younger than middle school?
She was. Yeah, she was. So it's There's how she was in the past when she met Sakata, and she was 2 years older than him. And then there's however old she should be now, and then there's the version that Sakata has met. And the version that Sakata has met is younger than the one he met in the past.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So there's a possibility then that that's middle school?
I'm not sure about the exact details because I forget the numbers, but yeah.
Yeah. Again, their little encounter that they had was at the beach.
Yep. And I love the
whole thing there.
I have a girlfriend now, Sakata, It's great stuff.
But I'm not feeling well, I'm going somewhere else, basically, like, she was just sitting alone in a park or something where it was raining, and then there was
when Sakata found her?
Yeah. So where does she have to go?
Right. Well, and if there was the one that left the, let's see, if there was the one that left the note that seemed to be in the way that she wrote her name and referred to herself, if that was the regular age,
yeah.
And then there's the one that he's seen and that called him that time,
Shoko-chan, Shoko-san, yeah.
Right? That is the younger one. Then what's the situation there? Because that sounds almost kind of similar to Futaba, where it's like there's two of them or something like that.
Or just that she's, getting yoinked back and forth in her own timeline or something.
Yeah, right. And then what's the situation there? Is one of them, if one of them might be okay, but is the other one okay? Right?
Yeah. If they want to have Shoko basically be the Sakuta focus, it's all based on that, because it's a resolution of his past, stuff there, then they kind of need to go even further back from that and see what's the deal with his puberty syndrome.
Oh, sure. Because I can't remember exactly what the timeline was of when the hospitalization incident happened.
It had already happened by the time Shoko helped him, though.
Gotcha.
I think.
Gotcha. I can't remember. But it could have been.
But I like that there's a potential aspect that the Kaida stuff could even be resolved in the first half of this next episode.
Maybe.
Depending. Because it's not that Kaida's going to be magically perfectly better and everything. It's that she's going to be willing to keep moving on her own.
Right. Started the road to recovery, gotten to the point where she's independent enough and is self-sufficient in her own strength that we don't need to focus on her necessarily.
Yeah, you don't need to micromanage her.
Right.
Basically.
In a similar situation to how Mai and her sister, we show them still hanging out when they go to the beach together because they're still working on that relationship.
Yeah.
The relationship is not completely perfect and done because the arc is done.
Right.
It's just that that's not the dramatic conflict.
Exactly.
We can know that they'll be able to continue going as they were left off. Yeah. And it's going to be okay.
And it's going to be good.
Yeah.
So I would say then that this episode basically was just fluffy, good, wholesome feels with just the
stake setting.
Too relatable with all this stuff, because I have never encountered in my life directly, in physical proximity, a person that was shut in to the point where they couldn't go outside. But I have had talks with people where they've been on the other side of that conflict, where they talk about it in the past kind of sense, where it's just the it was actually a thing where this is actually a common occurrence thing there. They were very good at self-praise. The people that were on the other side of this conflict.
They would probably have to. Because
they would congratulate themselves. They're like, I went and did X, Y, Z.
And that's one of the things that I feel like Kaida needs to give
applauded for?
Yeah, needs to be applauded for, is that when she was making the list and everything, she was like, all right, grats to me, and all that stuff.
Yes, that was a great moment, yeah.
Because the big issue with the cyberbullying isn't the fact that she's getting cyberbullied, it's how she responds to the cyberbullying, right? And that's where the problem comes from. So, the fact that, you said that about people that you've seen that were on the other side of that.
Usually these were people who had dealt with it 5-7 years ago or something like that.
That definitely feels like it would be a thing, because I can imagine Kaida's self-talk is not always the best, and that's why she relies on her own Ichan to basically be that sense of solidarity and security and And okay, even if my own internal thoughts and feelings about myself aren't necessarily the best, I can charge up on Oni-chan power and be okay. Yeah.
I also love Big Sister Mai, just helping her out with outfits.
Yeah, cute outfits and everything, and
so good. But y'all, this is a really, really sweet, wholesome episode, and we're headed in a good direction. Even though the twist reveal is something that could take things out,
throw a wrench in things,
and have things spiral out of control a bit, I think we're headed in a really good direction here. So, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.